Hey, what's up, guys? We're gonna be building a watch list. It's currently 3 in the morning, so we're gonna get a watch list together for the 4 a.m. session to the 6/9/26 session. We're gonna see what we're looking at, see what kind of stuff and sign up advantages we have. We're gonna pop a Zen real quick. I don't advocate drug use. It's a nasty habit. I should quit. Better than vaping for sure, but enough of that stuff. That doesn't really matter. We're gonna be looking at these stocks. We're gonna look at these charts, looking at some opportunity we can have, or maybe we do some live trading sessions for sure. Okay, so get Webull open right now. Okay, now we're opened up. Okay. So a lot of times I like to do this. So we're gonna create a new watch list, and we could pull stocks from a couple of different places. Usually the places I like to pull from are gonna be your daily, your after hours, and then your 5 day. Okay, so what I mean by this is you're gonna have top gainers list, and you're gonna have a day chart. You have daily, you have pre-market, and you have after hours. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the daily, and we're gonna grab the top 10, and we're gonna take a look at them. Okay, so INH, there's potential for continuation for sure, and we'll go into some bigger time frames. Okay, so INH up a monstrous amount of money. I don't see this moving too much higher forward. We haven't watched this from before, but we're just gonna make a new one. We'll call it new one. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take this and put this into the new one. Okay, SUNE. Okay, we had a monster movement. We already tracked this from earlier today. We did a video on this. We have this break here, looking to retest here, and then even from 531 could be an interesting idea. So we'll go ahead and put that into the idea right there. Okay, NPT had a big drawdown, and this could be an interesting movement, especially still a small company as well, big enough but still small. Okay, we're gonna put that into here. Okay, BYAH, this is an interesting one as well. We don't know if we had the best news in BYAH. We didn't really have news. Okay, so it's funny to see that. It's very interesting to see the top the top four stocks, only two of them had news. Like, right, like INHD had news of what they're developing service agreement to build AI powered used mobile phone sales agent. Okay, so now they have AI powered sales agents for them. That's fucking pretty sweet. Okay, SUNE, what they had was not only they merged with the company, and that merger um gave all the shareholders equity at $2.26 per share at the opening of the market, and we had we had started the market at $1, so everyone is given $2.26 per share, right? And then they also got a private placement on top of that, 3 million, and then the company opened the day at a $3 million market cap. So someone gave them $3 million. Like, that's insanity. Like, they just doubled their company's value within literally one day. So that's why we had this giant movement here. Okay, NPT actually doesn't have news. Okay, maybe we have structural news though, and we do have structural news. Okay, the structural news comes from going from $4 to 22, and then coming back down and being dead. But now once you reintroduce volume, we know that we have a previous runner we can run, and we're still a small company. We're still very small. 4 million float, and we opened today. We were only at $1. So this says 21 million market cap, but it was actually 4 times less than that. So 21 divided by 4, you're actually looking at a $5 million market cap. Okay, so $5 million market cap, 4 million shares to trade, and you move 238%. This isn't anything new. This happens all the time, right? Small company, previous runner hits hard with volume, takes off, and then it kind of dies off actually a little bit. So we're looking at something like this. Okay, on the 5 minute, BYAH on the 5 minute. Okay, this could be interesting as well. I'm not sure if I really love this one as much. We could throw this into there though for sure. Okay, and then we see, let's go to TDIC. TDIC is a very interesting one. TDIC is one that got away from me, and I kind of got away from the entire intraday session just because I was fucking sleeping because I'm a moron. Um, but we have some just maniacal movement from this one. It's just absolutely maniacal, absolutely like just straight crazy. So 41 million shares needed to be traded. So we ended up doing 10 million in a minute here at the peak here. Actually, a peak here comes to 35 million in 5 minutes. Okay, my apologies on the 5 minute chart. Okay, going from 22 to 47, back down to 31, back up to 1 o'clock. Okay, so it's like it's just the simple, fill that gap, hold your high, clear out your level, push hard with volume, break out hard, break out like a maniac, clear back down. Okay, this is very beautiful stuff, and it's interesting to see that we can have these movements of like 33 to $1, even though this thing are pushed from $1 to 66. This thing pushed from $1 to 9. Okay, this thing pushed from $1 to 12. Okay, this thing pushed from $1 to 6. Okay, this thing pushed from 24 cents to $1. Okay, like we're getting massive movements. SMTK is actually a beautiful play as well. The beauty of SMTK comes from it's a little bit slower for sure because we also didn't have news for this play as well, okay? And it's a tiny bit bigger company. Actually, we did have news and actually may have missed this. As actually buys 4.9 stake in SmartCam via shelf takedown. Okay, so they're taking down this company, and then I'm not sure what a shelf takedown is exactly. We could always look it up, but non-brokered private placement. So this company actually no, they were given a private placement. Okay, interesting. They're given a private placement for a 5% stake in their company. Okay, beautiful. So that's why we get this movement, and that's why we had this movement from even from here probably. If you look at the 6 days ago, we didn't really see anything on this thing actually, but that's probably the reason that we had that bump in volume, and then that bump in volume. We also got to see if we have any structural reasonings. Not as much structural reasoning, not really known runner. Okay, so that's why we have a little bit of difficulty in this day here. And on the 20-minute chart, it's actually a little bit big. So what we actually get is from 50 we want to retest, and then come here from 54 to push back to 150, and then you just traded 35 million volume in 20 minutes. Jesus Christ, what the hell is that? Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, so now at 68 cents, I'm not sure too much about this one really. MTEN, now this one's just absolutely fucking crazy. I completely missed this. I had it after I was traded. I had made money, then I stepped away from the market for a bit. Completely missed this. This is just insanity, right? So still very small company, even up um, about 200%. It's still an insanely small company. And did we have any news on this? We did have news 5 days ago for um, approved B-class voting power, major capital restructure, and then, ooh, joops, missed it. Large expansion of authorized share capital, awesome. And then we also terminated our $100 million ATM sales agreement, having sold 220 million pre-split Class A for 20 million gross proceeds. So we made $20 million. Okay, so that's pretty fucking sweet. And when we were doing our restructuring, so we can have some more liquidity for this company. And this is a machinery company. Okay, so lately the machinery companies have been going off, the electric companies have been going off, software companies still always go off. Yeah, and then just solar companies, anything that has to do with like a major market is going to be something, especially a small company, a major market, really good news. These are just the three catalysts you're always going to be looking for. And then you add structure and you add volume to the picture, you're going to have an explosive day. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take this, we're going to add this one to the new one. Okay, and this is just brutal. This is brutal activity, right? Like seeing this movement, like absolutely ridiculous, cleared out. Okay, made a low. Okay, tested your low, retested at 1.6, accepted at 1.6, pushed hard as shit, and no one really got to test this from 2.0. Comes back to 2.0, and then it just skyrockets. Now you want to retest at 2.6 from when you broke up from there. You get that retest and you go to 4.6. Okay, and when you go to 4.6, you come back in with 34k volume after trading 6k volume. So you fucking 6x your volume in the 1 minute. It's no biggie. It's no surprise that you went and did something abstractly abnormal from that position, okay? But then again, like we still always have all the time in the world. Like, don't think that since you missed the intraday session, something's not going to happen in the after hours. I don't think that since you missed the after hours, something else can happen in the after hours. Like, just because this is smaller than that doesn't mean that even this play, that even like the top here confirming is still 36%, brother. Like, what are we talking about? This is absolutely abnormal insanity movement. This is what we're looking for all the time. Okay, ILTC. Let's take a look at what happened here. ILTC pushed up really, really hard and then had this really bad sell down and could never really come back. I mean, even this is still pretty interesting from Twitter, but then we just completely disrespected these levels. And ILTC actually didn't have any news, though, unfortunately. So this is why it didn't do as well as MTEN. Didn't really have any news. MTN made $20 million, at least within the restructuring of their company. ILTC had no fucking news at all. I have no clue why this thing moved, except if we have a structural reason. Let's actually go to the day chart. The structural reason, I mean, and then we actually get to see from here we've moved 104.5% in a day before. So there's your structural reasoning that we have previously known to run, and we also did it here as well, 45% on 3 million. Okay, and then the day before we traded 39k, then we go and trade 34 million volume. You can't do any, you can't just do nothing with your volume. Okay, depending on where you are in the chart. As DOT, I'm not sure I'm really loving this that much. Going from 11 to 23 is actually pretty beautiful, but it took a really long time. And it was really choppy and grindy, and I mean it's still a super small company. Okay, and do we have any news? We had news from a couple of days ago. Actually, that was probably when it first expanded. This is probably the day two, just to push up from it. So it completes 12 million, so it acquired another company. Okay, so when you acquire another company, it's good news, but it's still like you're still losing you still have to spend money to do that. So it's not like someone's giving you money. It's like you're spending money. Okay, so it's different. Okay, OTC, $98 million company. This is gonna be harder to trade. TNGX and ILR, and then PN actually was pretty interesting from the other day. Like we go from we have this huge push, and then we clear out, and then we have this huge push again. Like we go from 60K to 500K to 2.1 million, and then back to 500K, back to 600K, now back to dead. Okay, we have a really small company, and I'm not sure if we have any news for this company. Um, we have news from a couple weeks ago, solar company, and then boom, we actually had a track from a couple weeks ago, and then there's your structural confirmation and the idea that this thing can move 89%, it can move very, very heavy volume. So we're gonna add that to the watch list as well. Okay, we're gonna throw that into the watch list. ENAH. Let's take a look at this on the 5 minute. Okay, this is pretty interesting. We go from 2.5 to 3.3, and then but we still have a really big company. Like these big companies, anything over 100 million is gonna be a lot harder to move forward. So from here, we kind of just get a bunch of random bullshit. So we don't need to look at anything else from the days. Okay, so now let's go to after hours and see what we have for after hours. Okay. After hours, we're probably going to grab the first 7 to 10 stocks. CHAI, let's take a look at what happened here. CHAI has an insane movement, even on the hour chart. Let's take an insane movement. We break out hard with 10 million volume, 178% on a $5 million company. Actually, it was not a $5 million company when it started. It was actually 29 to 70, 7 goes into 30. How many times? Like 4 times. So it was actually 4 times lower than that, a little bit lower. So it was actually a $1 million company when it started. Let's see if we have any good news. Um, we actually don't have any news. We do have a news for revenue rise though at 518. Okay, and let's see if we have any structural news. Okay, and then a little bit of structural news actually. We do have an idea for 31% here. Not the biggest previous gainer honestly, and actually if we take a look here, we actually do have a mountainous movement from 514 in 2025, almost the same exact time last year, and it just fucking so when you look back and you can see that these things have moved, like anything that moves over 100% in one day is able to do it again, okay? And it does it by coming up, testing your high, breaking out with confirming volume. Like look here, like we go to boom and then boom, there's your confirming volume, right? And then boom, boom, boom. Now you traded too much. Now you lost your volume. Now you broke your high. Now you're pushing back down. Now you're retesting your low, and that's what you're looking at here. And even from here, even at 2.0 to 3.3, it's insane play. It's going, that's 66 fucking percent. Like let's completely be honest with ourselves. That's amazing. Super super small fucking company. We're gonna put that into the watch list. ZTG, didn't get to see this either. This is also an amazing play, and I think the PTD rule is that change has really changed everything with this game. Like going 134% on 200K, and then another 103%. Like absolutely fucking phenomenal. 7.6 million market cap and a 3 million float. Okay, so super small company. Do we have any news? We don't even really see any news. We have any news? Yeah, there's really not much news. Let's see if this actually says anything. Yeah, wow, good news. It's fucking retarded. Okay, that literally just told you what it did the week before. Like, awesome, bro. Thanks for that. Okay, but oh, look at this IPO. Okay, we've never really had time to prove ourselves, and never even had time to give ourselves a good day. So now we come into here out of nowhere, and we push extremely hard. So we're gonna add that to our watch list. I'm not sure if that's gonna be the biggest one to move, but let's take a look at RGNT on the 1 hour. Okay, so we push hard for 122%, actually even harder to 6.0. Another small company. I think we're seeing a pattern here, right? And then we actually do get good news. So we're looking at launch a European surgeon training ahead of gen-cleared cartilage repair rollout. Okay, advances European commercial launch plans for January. So they're probably a bio company, right? And they just got their news for like bio companies always release like some of the weirdest fucking news. I swear to God, it's always like the weirdest shit. That can make these things. But then again, it's like it can be weird all you want, but when you go and trade 3 million shares in 1 hour, you're gonna have to do something with those 3 million shares, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna have to go up, okay? Because you just had a completely dead past couple of weeks. You're not gonna trade 3 million shares and go down to 12 cents. Like no one's that's just not gonna happen. You need volume to short, and if you don't have any volume, there's no pressure to move down, okay? You have that clear level, so we're gonna go ahead and add that to our watch list. Okay, so put that down into the new one. Okay, now we're about 9 stocks now. Now we have MTEN is your after hours play. We already had that in there. CCTG actually, and this is the one I traded, I believe. Yeah, it's the one I traded, I believe. And did I trade this one? I can't. I don't think I traded this one. I think I traded a different one. I think I traded a worse one, honestly. I can't quite remember. Go to 2.4. Yeah, no, this isn't the one I traded. I had a rough trade, man. I promise you, it was a weird one. And then I got kind of lucky with the push and the continuation. There's no luck in trading, obviously, but there's always a little bit of randomization. And the fact that people wanted to pick up from where I had entered was actually kind of advantageous for me. So I got kind of, I feel like to a degree, I got a little bit lucky with that. And then the best thing I could have done was had a better entry because the retest at the I kind of entered into where we spiked from, kind of entered into that breakout rather than entering to the retest of the breakout, and I was able to have enough corrective a prediction to where it was able to push up higher from that. But here with this one, it is a beautiful movement. So we get 10% immediately, and now we're up probably like 20, 30%. And look at this 25% candle right here, and another 28% candle. And then from here, we retest our high, and then we push back up with more volume, the same volume, and we're trading about 1 million every minute. So it's like, dude, you're trading fucking phenomenal amounts of volume, and then we just clear out from here. Okay, I add that to the chart for sure. Let's see what the news was, and we have no news at all. Okay, so right here, volume's going to be your news. Let's actually see if we have a structural confirmation, a structural news. So we have a huge dip from 11, but that was from last year. But we have had a day where we moved 31%. That's nothing like crazy, crazy. And we had a day here we moved 38% as well. So, and actually, it really hasn't proved itself much throughout the past week. So, this is pretty surprising for this to happen. But then again, I think everyone's just kind of biting on everything since there's so much more money into the market right now. Let's just remember this, okay? So, EPSM, take a look. There's absolutely no news, okay? So, we're going to come into this 2.65 million, okay? And then we had that 100% movement, and then we kind of dripped down, okay? So, we're going to add this to the new one, okay? FAC. Um, these are just fucking ridiculous, right? I mean, but then 52K. How small is this company? Okay, this company's ginormous. Okay, so you can't do this as a company, right? Like this is the idea. Like when you trade 52K, move 400. You move 172%, but you have a 26 million float. Like you traded like less than 1% of your float, and you moved 172%. There's no stability. No one like entered into those levels and was able to rotate up. That's why there's no opportunity. So this thing just died out immediately. Is there any news? Um, Had a little bit of news from previous, but no news currently, right? So no news currently, and we're an investment holdings company. So I'm not really exactly sure why that did anything. ABTS, Tune, actually very interesting. 25%, 40% on the 5 minute. A bigger company though, we don't necessarily need to keep this in mind, but we do have a look at this. Securing 28 million aggregate payments. Court approves 3 to 5 Cartoon Studio settlement 2 pending. Cartoon Studios reached settlement agreement with 5 defendants, securing. Does this mean they have to pay the money? I'm not quite sure if that means they have to pay 28 fucking million. Um, God, dude, I hate tip ranks, bro. Get tip ranks retard ass the fuck out of here, dude. Excuse my language, but like, dude, what are you doing, bro? Put an ad right in my face, dog. I'm not signing up for nothing, twin. Let's just do it again. Just click it again. Read it fast. Ah, Jesus. God, Jesus. Didn't work. Okay, so I'm not sure if they made 28 million or not, but we get that for there. We could always add that, but I'm not quite sure if we really care too much about any of that. And then that was pretty much the last one. Okay, so now we have a good watch list. So now we're gonna go to our charts and we're gonna keep this one here. We're gonna go to top gainers here over here, grab our watch list, our new one. Okay, so now this is your new one. Okay, so now we kind of want to put these in a ranking of kind of where we think they're going to move, and we can do that by using structure. Okay, and we added these actually in a very organized way. So these are all your after hours, and these are your intraday. So we can start it like this. We'll actually completely switch up the position of every one of these to where we had NPT in there, BYAH, MTEN. I need TDIC in here though. I don't know why I didn't add TDIC. Let's add TDIC, guys. Get the date chart, TDIC, like the number 5 stock didn't get added. Like, what are we doing? Okay, so now that's in there. SMTK. I didn't want to add SMTK. It's still a small company. I'm just not completely convinced on the conditioning of it. I mean, I could be completely wrong, of course, though. I don't believe quite that thing's going to do anything much more than it already did. Dreamland. Okay, so let's put this one to the 5 slot. Okay, now let's see on the 30 minute, if we can kind of see if anything's looking to move hard, you know. So we get a push, and a break. So I like TDIC right there. This one's probably not going to do much from where it is, okay? So just keep that right there. But it's still, let's keep in mind, it's still, I mean, wow, it's a way bigger company than it was before. It's always going to depend on rotation, okay? So honestly, let's put our small companies at the top. It's hard to exactly tell. CTNG from the 30 minute. This is actually pretty beautiful to look at. This isn't actually terrible either. And we can always be grading these by our news. So we don't have any news for that one either. Let's see. I mean, but something that had really good news though. It's also when it had that big day from the day before, it's like the next day might have to have a cool off. You know what I'm saying? So SUNE actually might be one of our best plays. So I definitely want to keep that up to the top three. Okay, NPT. I'm really loving this look as well. Like this look. Then again, we did lose a lot of our percentage gain, and then we also didn't have any. Oh, we had a little. Did we have news? No, we didn't have fucking news. What kind of company is this? A chemical company? Very interesting. Do you have structural news? Yeah, we have structural news. Okay, this is from a structural positioning. So NPT still, it could be around where pretty much where it is. BYAH. Do we have news for this again? See, remember, you're gonna see how easily it is to like lose your memory real quick to see like like if I were to say MTEN, what's the market cap of MTEN? I think it's small. And it is small. Yeah, MTEN is pretty small. And NTEN we really like as well. We keep that at the top as well. PN we liked, but then again, PN um, did lose a lot of its gain percentage, so we can keep that pretty much where it is. CHAI held its gain percentage, so we'll keep that to the top as well. Put that right there with CHG. ZTG also held a lot of its percentage, so we'll keep that up there as well. RTGN kind of fell down, put that there. TDIC, we'll keep that right where it is, maybe above. I think INHG is going to be one of the least to move in this movement, and then PAN could also be one of the least to move. It's hard to tell though with these small companies exactly, so now we have a good continuation, a good configuration of what we're looking at. Now we can go ahead and we can put these into 9 charts. I don't love the 9 chart though, guys, honestly. Honestly, it can be really hard to keep your focus, and even the 4 chart can be hard to keep your focus on what to be looking at, where to be looking at. But what we could do is we could throw MTEN in here, could throw SUNE in here, could throw CHAI in here, throw the CTG in here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to organize these and consolidate them, okay? So let's get this to the 10 minute. Let's get every one of these to the 10 minute. Let's turn off this average volume because I don't like looking at that. I don't want to fucking see that. Okay, it's too much information. I like a clean chart. A clean chart, okay? Like a clean chart, and I like to use structural confirmation and volume confirmation and news confirmation, okay? So now we have all of these companies, and we have a really good idea of what we're looking at, okay? So our GTN actually, and we can easily swap through. We take one of these, so say one of them isn't moving, now we're just going to swap through quickly. We're going to swap through quickly. When we're looking at FGN, we're going to swap through, okay? Remember, you're always going to have time, so let these plays develop and let them give you a favorable position, you know? And then even looking here, like, what are we probably going to do from here, right? We thin out, and then we need to attack with volume from the breakout, okay? And everyone's going to be risking 3-5 from this position if it does continue from here. So 3-5 is your idea, and even a break of 4-4-6 with good volume, okay? But you're also already up a very good amount of money. And on the daily chart, you're just known to just die, okay? So actually, I mean, you had a good continuation from here, but then you get those reverse splits and shit changes, okay? So what's going to happen is, so once we're going to enter pre-market, what we're going to do is we're going to go here, we're going to pre-market, okay? So once pre-market kicks off, when pre-market kicks off, we're going to want to be cycling to pre-market and cycling back to our top gate, to our new one list, okay? So if you see anything that kicks off in pre-market, every 5 to 10 minutes, check your pre-market, okay? And then you're going to slowly add things back to your thing, okay? NEXR from pre-market completely died, okay? TNGX, SMTK, GHS. See, a lot of these plays you understand. So TDIC, SMTK, and SUNE are all things that moved up. So that's 3 out of the top 10 that actually moved up in intraday, okay? So only 3 out of the top 10 in the pre-market moved up in intraday. So that's very important to understand that. And then your top gainers actually from intraday. So boom, 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 MTEN, IOTC, TGX, and then your after hours. Like none of these are even in pre-market. Okay, so you got to remember there's opportunity everywhere. And there's opportunity in opportunistic in regions. Okay, so there's your pre-market session, your intraday session, and your after hours session. And usually the most fruitful will be your pre-market. Your intra. They're all super fruitful actually. So this is how you develop your watch list, and then what we can even do to sweeten up this deal a little bit for us is we can go to the 5-day chart, okay, and see what's up huge on the 5-day chart, okay. So we have still have STI up huge from the 5-day chart. This is just a stock I couldn't get into, and I wasn't really as on my ball as I should have been, but it's still just kind of cooling off. We could see this thing probably move stack over the 2-hour chart, okay. So we had a day like this where we kind of consolidated, pushed through a little bit, still just being weird. Still a bigger company, 51 million shares, right? SUNE, NPT. So, I mean, a lot of the times, these 5 days, if you want to hold them for a long amount of times, but once you get to something like JHL, I mean, this is even pretty interesting from JHL, coming 46% the day before, and then trying to push up again, and then dying from here. But then again, now you have a big ass company where it's like it's just going to be hard to move from there, especially if you don't have any new news. SBEV, and a lot of times, like, your first day is going to be your most lucrative day, okay? So that's what we're really going to be focusing on our first day. And you know, let's actually throw IOTC in just for shits and giggles, just because, you know, if it does do anything spectacular, it'd be interesting to keep that in the rotation. So we'll put IOTC at the bottom here, though, and then we'll get back to where we were. So we have OCC, we'll put MTEN there, we'll put SUNE there, put CHAI there, and we'll put CTTG, okay? Now we'll put this onto the 1 minute to get something like this. Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, MTEN, just, oh god, put this on the 3 minute. Yeah, like look. Like even on the 3 minute, if you don't see this, you miss this. Then you come to retest, and if you don't see this, you miss this. Okay, so very important to be on the ball when you're doing stuff, and then just take the pressure off yourself. Okay, there's no pressure into this game, because at the end of the day, even if you go an entire day without trading anything at all, what's going to happen is you're just going to get a better understanding of how stocks want to move. Okay, so you're going to miss out making money, but the idea isn't to make money every day. The idea is to be as effective with your capital as possible, right? You don't necessarily need to make a trade every day, but what you need to do is make the most effective trade you possibly can, and, you know, as many effective trades as you possibly can eventually, right? So I think what helps with me a lot of times is like I used to just be super lazy. So what would happen is I would sleep, and I would just, you know, and I just really wouldn't know exactly what I was doing. So I would spend the entire day like, just like not pulling the trigger on anything, just because I didn't really know what I was looking at. And then eventually you get that patience to where be like, okay, you know, I've seen things go 800% in my face. I've seen things go 100% in my face. I've missed complete moves. I've missed moves all the time. So you get numb to that idea, and you don't really care. You're like, okay, I'm gonna miss the move, but you always remember your best trade is gonna be in the future. Okay, like especially like if you start, everyone starts from somewhere, right? Because so like your best day is always going to be in the future, especially if you get good at trading. Like you're not gonna make 80K to start, but eventually you'll make 80K in one day. You know, considering how things go for you, but that's these ideas that we're playing around with, okay? So that's basically how you get a very easy watch list, okay? And then what's gonna happen is too, like probably like 8 to 10 of these stocks aren't really gonna do anything, you know what I'm saying? And then look how this organized, okay? So all these stocks that lost most of their money are here at the bottom, right? And then all these stocks that held most of their gains are here at the top, okay? So these are the ones we're gonna be looking for continuation. These are the ones that held their price, and even a bigger time frame can really help us out a lot to kind of get these things into a better visual, okay? To kind of get these things more condensed and more um, condensated for ourselves, for our eyeballs, okay? And CCTG, and remember, you're always going to want to be circling through these, because look, like every play is different, every play offers opportunity, and honestly, sometimes it's better just to stick with one play and just follow it through, okay? And usually what you want to stick with is a couple best plays, 1 to 2, 3 best plays. And if you find a good play, and if you make a position into a play, make that your one chart. Take all the other charts away, because there's no reason for them if you're into that play. You don't need to be looking at them. You don't need to be distracted. You can go back and look at them and review them later, okay? So this is how you make a watch list for stocks, okay? This is very important, and it's very necessary to the continuation and to the preparation of your trading game, okay? So that's how you make a watch list. Thank you guys for watching.